Hello, this is Angelos, your business mindset coach and trainer. And I would like to ask you a serious question. Do you have a poor man's mentality or mindset or a rich man's mentality or mindset? Now, it's kind of a weird question, but the truth of the matter is, I've bumped into a lot of people over the last few decades telling me that they have a rich mindset or a rich man's perspective, and others who kind of came to the conclusion that they had a poor man's perspective. And I don't just mean that financially, it could be lifestyle. And I found out that the people who actually thought they did have a rich man's mindset or perspective really didn't have it. And some of these people were doing extremely well financially. I mean, what then is the difference between them two? How do you know if you actually are, how the term, I think it was in a book I read a while back in Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Man, Poor Man, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I remember in the book, it said the difference between a rich man and a poor man is that one thinks they're rich, but they're not. And the other knows they're rich. So when I read that, I said, well, how do you know, besides thinking you have the right mindset? And he said, poor people, by definition, this is what was given by Robert Kiyosaki, and I'm not here to, promote his books or anything like that, but I've heard it in other areas, in other professions and industries, and this is how it goes, in self-help industries, I should say. And the way it goes is, a poor man's mentality is a person that believes that they have to do it themselves. A person that thinks they can do it themselves. A person that will do everything to prove to the world that they're that smart. Now, you've seen these kind of people before. I call them Google stupid. In other words, they'll go online, they'll go to a YouTube tutorial, they'll go Google a specific topic or an item that they want to be educated on, and then they'll, through the tutorials and the Googling, they come to the conclusion that they know enough. That this is going to give them all they need to show everybody else how smart they are. But the truth of the matter is, you can't get certified by a Google search or any tutorial. You can't become a doctor by any Google search or tutorial. And you cannot be great at what you're doing if you plan to only do it by yourself through Google search or tutorials. So let me give some examples of that. I had a client a while back making over six figures by himself, all by himself. He was, I think, making the average of, it would fluctuate between 110 and 120 every year by himself. And he came to us and said, I'm driving myself mad. I said, why? Oh, because I can't seem to get past 120,000. I just can't seem to get to that point. And I haven't taken a vacation. I can't take a day off because then I'll lose that number for the year. I'm stressed out of my mind thinking I'm already 65 years old, and I'm afraid I'm going to be doing this to the time I drop if I live to be 100. And I don't want to do this another 5-10 years. So I talked to him and I asked, why are you doing it by yourself? And he said, well, nobody can do it as good as me. Nobody can do it as well as me. Nobody can operate my business like I operate it. So he had a trust issue. So long story short, with this gentleman, we coached him, we helped him, we even sent him to other people to create what we call a dream team. A virtual, not necessarily someone that he pays directly, like staff, employees, or crew, but a virtual dream team. People he connects with on a regular basis, once a week, once a month. It could be for financial advice, bookkeeping advice, administrative advice, website presence and marketing, branding, stuff like that. And within a very short period of time, he went from 120,000 plus or minus to, by the time we finished with them, $600,000+. He was aiming for $1 million, but by the time he got to $500,000 average annually, he realized, no, I'm happy where I am. This is more than I expected. So you can see he 5 times, well, a little less, but close to 5 times more successful, financially successful than he was doing it all by himself. He learned that he couldn't do it by himself. Not only did he learn that he needed professional coaches to guide him and other professionals in their different arenas of expertise, but he also needed a crew. Because yes, by yourself, you might be able to get 6 figures plus, but at some point, you cannot make 7 figures by yourself. You cannot, by your company, make 8 figures by itself. No company can. No one person, of a company can. They have to have a system. They have to have people helping them out. And they have to be on a professional level as well as a staff. Another example, I had a good friend of mine got into the real estate business. In fact, I know 2 people got into the real estate business. One owned 8 buildings, okay? And these were income-producing properties. Some of them had, I think, the smallest was 2 renters, and all the other ones were 3 or 4 renters, okay? That's very profitable. That's a good business to be in. And he was a property manager. So, again, he kept the attitude that he can do 99% of the work by himself or without anybody's assistance. He did have a crew. He did have people working for him, but he had no real coach or professionals kind of guiding him to maintain what he created on his own. Long story short, he lost all those buildings, all those houses. And he was making an average of, just on the income coming in from those houses, $500,000 every, $750,000 almost every 6 months. So what happened? He had a lot of money, had a lot of property. He was king of the road, king of his domain, but he had a poor man's mentality. I got to do it myself. Only I can do it myself. I had another friend into real estate, owned a big building, lots of tenants in it, and I think it was in the hollow of Bridgeport, Connecticut. He had it for a few years, and I asked him, how's it doing? He said, I'm very stressed out. I am constantly working this. I'm constantly taking care of the properties. I'm calling in the middle of the night if something breaks, the water heater or something. And it's just nerve-wracking. And I've been doing this for the last 3 years. And I think, and I'm not even collecting the rent properly. Some people are late in their rent, and I'm having trouble collecting from them. And he just gave me all these kind of stories and issues and problems. And I asked him, well, have you learned how to just get a property management company to come in and just manage it for you instead of you doing it yourself? Why are you doing all this by yourself? Why don't you get other people to take care of, delegate some of the workload so you can rest at night and take a break or even a vacation? I think for those 3 years he couldn't take a vacation to go out with his family. And again, he said, nah, it's cheaper if I do it this way. Cheaper. And he owned a building full of tenants, and he was losing money. And long story short, he had to sell the business, and he had a loss. Now, what is this all about? It's about you thinking that you can trick what nature has provided. Nature has provided opportunities for you to grow and to make a lifestyle, to make a career out of your assets. If you own properties or you own other investment things, doesn't matter. Life will give you an opportunity to go as far as you want with that, but you can't do it alone. No successful self-made millionaire or billionaire will say that they did it all by themselves. They might have started by themselves. A few of them made it to a 6-figure income by themselves. A lot of struggle. And many of them, when they got to a certain point, they started losing what they made, or they wasn't enjoying what they made. Nothing was working the way they were hoping. They didn't have a life. They're just working around the clock to feed this monster, this money pit, called their career, their job. If they're entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, This is the business that they bought for themselves. So, and especially those people who have this need to prove to others that they can just go on Google now and they can go check out YouTube videos on a specific subject and they can do it all by themselves and save themselves a lot of money. No, that's a poor man's mentality. By any definition, that's a poor man's mentality. For the people, the clients we've had that started out that way, some of them never made six figures. The most they ever made was 60,000. And now they're making six figures comfortably and with a lifestyle that they love because they got a dream team behind them. They have on the payroll as part of all the expenses, they're professionals, people in the finances, people coaching them in their lifestyle and business, people in the systems, the administrative, every aspect of the company. They have somebody who knows more than them, and this is their full-time job, guiding them to keep the business stable and scaling up. And not only scaling up, to set it up where they can sell it someday for a good price. That's the ultimate dream of all business owners, to sell their business someday. So they also have a staff, a crew, because at some point after you have done everything and you've mastered everything, you want to, delegate this to a competent workforce underneath you. Not abdicate, but delegate. With a poor mindset, you think you got to do it all yourself and you think you're saving money. No, you take the money you think you would be saving, you invest it on professionals and staff that's going to get you from whatever level you are past that glass ceiling that you've created for yourself and to the promised lands of whatever success, next step of success you're looking for. So I want people to understand is that if you're trying to do it all yourself, if you're attempting to prove to everybody that you're so intelligent and you're so smart and you're so gifted and you're so resourced that nobody can do it as good as you, you might succeed, you might not. If you do succeed, you may not stay there. You may lose everything you started with and then some. Because I have plenty of clients of mine who have refused to do it when I told them to invest, if not in me, invest in another coach, another trainer, another professional to keep them stable and to help them scale up to the next level because they can't do it by themselves. I've seen big companies have this trouble. Remember that company, Circuit City, a while back? They were competing with Best Buy. Well, they were making millions of dollars. They were doing very well, you would think. Obviously, they were not doing very well because they went out of business. Why did they go out of business? Because the owners at the top, even though they were making all this money, they were actually losing, they were bleeding financially. I mean, they were bleeding profusely here and there, hemorrhaging all over the place, and they couldn't keep up with it because the leadership at the top believed that their way was the only way, and they would not take any other professionals' opinions or suggestions. So we know the history of Circuit City. So I hope this video will let you know that it's not about you. It's about this baby, this beautiful business that you purchased, created from scratch, or you're part of. And if you want it to grow to the next level with less effort, less work, you have to apply a rich man's attitude, and that is learn it, do as much as I can by myself, and then as soon as possible, delegate it off to other professionals so that you can either leave, retire, or open up another business and expand. So if you have any questions about how this works, in the comment field after this video, let me know and I'll get back to you with other free tips, other suggestions, other links that you can go to. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for seeing this video and have a great day.